Alright, hey everyone. Just wanted to talk remakes for a second because there has been some news recently that the president of Sonic Team wants to remake Sonic Adventure. I mean, it's not like a definite thing, it's just a, hey, I want to do this kind of comment, not a, hey, we're doing this, unless this is supposed to be some kind of surprise announcement. Not really sure. Not gonna read into it that much, and I don't think you should either. But, I just wanted to talk remakes because I don't really think I want a Sonic Adventure remake at this point. And I've got some very specific reasons for that, and those reasons I will try to outline best I can without rambling. But first off, I just want to look at some remakes that have come out recently, namely Spyro and Crash. These things were like huge announcements. Like, I remember I was watching E3, Sony's E3 the other year, not the other day obviously, because it was like 2 years ago, and I was just waiting for Crash Bandicoot news, and then all of a sudden, guy walks out onto the stage, don't know his name, but, you know, I know his face. He's wearing a Crash shirt, he's ready, he's like, yep, Crash is coming back, here we go, crowd is applauding thunderously, and my first thought is, oh my god, can't believe it, this is gonna be amazing. But my second thought is, those games were fun for very specific reasons. Sure, it's the levels, and the music, and the feel, but, like, the controls and everything, like, every tiny little thing about the game makes it what it is. And sometimes when you remake a game, it can lose some of those things in translation. But Crash came out. I was not disappointed at all. I honestly prefer those remakes over the originals now, which might be blasphemy. But it's because they took the time and they really made them feel like the originals. Like, they didn't cut any of the charm, in my opinion. They didn't cut any of the controls. They did not cut corners. They took people into the studio to play the game and tell them, oh, that doesn't feel right, oh, that doesn't look right, you know, yada yada yada. They worked very, very closely and meticulously to make sure that this game was exactly the way it should be for the fans of the series. Fast forward to more recently, Spyro, another fear I had was, okay, Activision pulled it off one time, that was Vicarious Visions, they had worked on Crash 2D at least before, they knew at least a little bit of what they were doing. What if they screw up Spyro, you know? But no, Toys for Bob was very, very careful to take fan feedback wherever they got it, and it improved the game so much. And sure, there are some bugs and glitches. All games have bugs and glitches. It's not anything that's ridiculously game-breaking, aside from like 1 or 2 times an NPC got stuck for me, which is, it sucks, but I'm sure they can fix that. But my point is, it feels good to play, and that's the whole point. Like, that's what it comes down to. If the original Spyro and Crash games controlled terribly, no one would have liked them. I can say that with 100% certainty. And it's the same thing with Sonic Adventure. So, right now, Sonic Team has been making games, and they've been okay. You know, like, they're not great games. Forces is not a great game. It is not a god-awful game, but it's not a great game. Like, it's not something that I can look at and say, wow, I'm gonna return to this year after year and keep playing it. Like, Sonic Adventure is a game like that. Sonic Team was very different back then, I think, because they maybe cared a little bit more, I'm not really sure. But Sonic Adventure is a very specifically good game for specific reasons. I don't know if that makes sense, but control is very important. That game, I know I can boot that game up, jump into Emerald Coast, and have a good time. I could jump into any of Sonic's levels, have a great time, and that's because I know exactly how he controls and he feels good to play as. So, my main fear is if they were to remake this game, sure, things would be similar. It would look really nice. I'm sure the remastered music would be good. Maybe a really cool new version to Open Your Heart, I don't know. But the thing is, I don't think it would be good enough. It wouldn't be as good because it wouldn't play the same. Like, there's no way that Sega and Sonic Team are gonna take the time out of their days to replicate how that game feels perfectly. And that's an issue, because part of the reason it's so good is because the controls are so nice, and then in turn works really well with the level design. So like, when I boot up Emerald Coast, I know I can do a spin dash jump from the bottom of the bridge at the very beginning, and jump up to the top, and go to the left and go around that loop and feel like a speedrunner, even though I'm like leagues behind anything that they can do. But it's just like a good feeling, you know? You can take little shortcuts like that, you can have fun. It's kind of like how I feel about Mario 64. Like, Do I think Nintendo could make a remake of Mario 64, make it enjoyable? Hell yeah, of course I do. And, you know, if they use the Odyssey engine, that'd be cool. I mean, I don't think Odyssey and 64 would really work as well together, like, because 64 was a lot more small, a lot more condensed. Odyssey is just so big, and, like, Mario's moveset's massive and ridiculous and fun, and it would be something, but it wouldn't be Mario 64. Like, I can boot up Mario 64, play that game, and long jump into walls and wall jump off of them before I bonk off of them, and I can just take some crazy shortcuts, and I can play that game, and I know every time I boot up either Mario 64 or Sonic Adventure, I'm gonna have a great time. But there are remakes out there, like, Nintendo released the Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga remake last year, and as much as I love the original, and how much I love the remake, I don't find the remake as good, because I already know how to play the game, but the remake made it so different, like, everything felt so different that it was almost like playing a new game, and I wasn't really that into it. Like, it felt foreign, it didn't feel right. Like, if you remake a game, I feel like it should be very, very similar, or else it's not really a remake. Like, if you take a game and remake it, and just totally overhaul how things work, even if there's some dated things, like, sure, Spyro and Crash, they got live systems and stuff like that, but they made sure the things that mattered were there. Like, Superstar Saga, sure, it's good. Once I got used to it, I was like, that's fine, but I still prefer the original. And I feel like that shouldn't happen if it's a good remake, you know? Like, I know it's preference, but I don't see how they could pull Sonic Adventure back up, and unless they took the original source code and just built off of that somehow, which again, I feel like they probably won't do. Like, I just can't imagine it would be any good. Like, I don't feel that same way about SA2, like, I don't like how that game controls as much. Like, God forbid they remake SA1, make it feel more like SA2. Because SA2 works for SA2. SA2 would not work for SA1. I don't think it would be a good time. I honestly don't think they could do it. I don't think they could do it justice. And that'd be a problem. Because I think they think it would sell, and I'm pretty certain that it would definitely sell. Because people have been asking for Adventure for a very long time, and hey, best case scenario, the game is good, and, you know, it's not glitchy, and people like it, and then that kickstarts Sonic Adventure 3. Like, why not? That'd be fantastic. But at the end of the day, if it doesn't control literally exactly the same as I remember it, I'm not gonna have as much fun. And that sucks, because it shouldn't matter that much, but it does to me, because, like, that's the whole point of what makes it fun. Like, you see what I'm getting at? Like, I don't know if I'm ranting or rambling, or I don't know if any of that made sense. I say that a lot, because I never know how to collect my thoughts properly, but it's just, if I can't play the game and feel like I'm playing the original, then what's the point? Like, I'm not gonna pay $60 for an inferior version of the game. Like, I think people fall for that a little bit too often. Like, sure, remakes look nice, sometimes they're perfect, like Spyro and Crash, but most of the time they're not. Like, if everything you love about it isn't in that remake, then why bother, you know?